What the film?
Hey guys, welcome to the What the Film podcast. Chad, obviously the co-host, Tristan, my son, and we're here in a very special episode. We have a writer, director, CEO of Jackpot, Gregory Pellerito. I said that right, I hope this time.
You sure did.
Um, uh, First of all, thanks for coming on to the podcast.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks so
I'll,
much for having me on. I'm looking forward to talking with you guys.
I'll do just a little bit about us and why we even have this thing. Um,
Sure.
so I've been doing short films probably since the mid '90s, I guess. Um,
Awesome.
but recently we've been really kind of kicking in the gear. My wife has become involved. My son has become involved. He's starting to write his own stuff. Um, and so our productions are sort of kind of really kicking in the gear. A lot of film festival stuff. At the
Awesome.
moment. Um, and but then of course Tristan he's got a little bit older, so he moved out of the house. So we don't really get to talk about movies that much anymore. So he started this podcast so that we can just yap about movies.
Awesome.
So
Love it.
we run the gambit of movies, but also we really just going through the film festival circuit. We want to talk to a lot of the independent guys, a lot of the people either just starting out or you know who do this not in such a grand scale, but then we also of course want to talk to people on grand scale because you're certainly up that ladder pretty far. So
Thank you.
thanks again for joining. You are technically, I guess officially, our first guest that isn't somebody who's been in our films, right?
Oh,
So
cool.
so
Hey,
here you go.
I'm
um
available for the next one.
there you go. Hey, I hear. um I have to say there's a little bit of serendipitous about this as well
I was
because
just thinking that because we're very much a family company. Also, Jackpot. We have my
oh
whole
yeah.
family's in. Yeah, my whole family's involved. We have. There's about uh, permanent members. There's about 12 of us, and pretty much my whole family's part of that. And then we have, uh, you know, uh, kind of our main collaborators that we've been working with over the last really 20 years. We just hit our 20-year anniversary. So, but yeah, I think it's great that father and son doing a podcast together. Very, very similar to my dad and I and my brother and my sister and my mom all involved in the company and brother-in-law
Oh, that's awesome.
and all my four nephews and my niece. They're all in the they're all in Moments of Youth. All five of them. Uh,
Really? Oh,
yeah,
nice.
yeah, yeah. They're all at the
That
carnival. They're all at the carnival cheering, like booing the karaoke singing. Yeah.
oh, right. Nice. Yeah, and so for ours, we
Yeah.
had this. So the serendipitous, the weird thing here is both me and Tristan are separately writing two full length movies about coming of age and our high school
Really?
sort of
Oh,
experience,
wow.
right? So
Yeah,
two
how about
completely
that?
separate
Cool.
ones. And so when we
Nice.
watched Moments of Youth, we were sort of like, oh wait, that's that's odd. Uh, and also because of this podcast, Tristan had to watch for the very first time Dazed and Confused,
Oh,
which
there you go.
also is sort of kind of in line, with the Moments of Youth. There are some
Yeah.
shades there
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah, we've gotten
Oh,
compared to Dazed and Confused a decent amount,
oh,
actually. One
yeah,
of
I'm
my
sure.
favorite films, one of my favorite directors, Richard Linklater. I love the film. I think a lot of it, it's the last day of school. A lot of really fun stuff, but it's got a lot of heart to it too. I think a lot in regards to similar tone. The humor's fairly similar, and just kind of the adventure component to it. I think we have a lot of the similarities for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, which I didn't know when we were watching the movie Moments of Youth, but Tristan also for the podcast had to watch A League of Their Own, the
Classic.
baseball movie,
Yeah.
and you definitely have a baseball scene in the film, and just looking you up, you were a baseball player for
Yes.
sure in your history. So I don't know, it just kind of felt like wow, this is
Very
an
cool.
interesting film that we just sort of watched.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, let's talk about the film.
Sure.
Moments of Youth. Uh, uh, I've been looking at a lot of the reviews too, by the way, are really doing well. Like, I mean, the people are really actually responding to this. Um, the movie has, like you said, heart. It does have a lot of heart in it.
Thanks.
I
Thank
didn't
you.
expect when I first, when Tristan first even brought this up. Sorry if I hit the mic, Tristan. Sorry. Uh,
No
the
worries.
when Tristan first brought this to us, and we were going to watch the movie and stuff. Obviously the thing that came out to me was Sherry O'Terry. Absolutely a gem, right?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
My goodness, her timing and her comedic talent and the way I think that she just attacks every role, it seems, is
Ab-
spot on. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was thinking way more comedy, right? That's I just again I didn't know what to expect, so I'm like, okay, this is obviously going to be a funny movie. I guess I didn't fully expect, which is a good thing, the real underlayer of
Right.
the piece,
Yeah.
which kind of kicks you in the gut a little bit, when you really get down to it. And I thought that was a fascinating thing. I didn't know.
Thank you.
I, I mean, obviously, I think that you planned it that way, but uh, was writing that difficult?
You know, great question. First of all, as far as planning it that way, the initial screenplay actually didn't have it in it. It didn't have the traumatic event at all. But the more and more I started writing and rewriting the piece, uh, and the further we got closer to making the film, I got the feeling that I wanted to really say something profound. The original script was all about the scavenger hunt, which, that's all still there. All the humor is still there, the adventure component and the coming of age. But I just started to rewrite, and I got this sort of really almost like felt a sense of almost a responsibility that if I was going to tell a movie about today, I should, and specifically high school life. I haven't really seen this particular subject matter hit upon in films or TV a lot, and it's so prevalent in America and really everywhere, that I just felt like if I was gonna you know say something, this was what I wanted to say. And I wasn't coming from any sort of political stance or anything like that. I really just wanted to show kind of what kind of effects this has on people years later, because I don't think that particularly is spoken about. Years later, I watched a lot of the interviews, like Columbine, for example. That so many years later, I saw some interviews with the kids talking about it and how much it still affects them. Of course it does. So I just kind of felt like, coming from a place of it happening, the event happening, say 2 years before, and one of the friends being lost in the tragedy, and kind of this night serving as a way to sort of move forward, and finally talk about it as a group of friends. But as far as writing it, to answer your question, yes, very difficult.
Yeah, I can
And
imagine.
what I've learned in writing as much as I do over the years, I've learned that if it is very difficult to put on the page, it's going to play very potent and evocatively and emotionally on screen. That translated big time in our table read, which we shot during COVID, right after COVID, but our table read was virtual. And when we got to this scene, I had never, like, we read it together as a company, and the producers and my team. But when the actors all read their lines, right when that scene ended, it just went completely silent. And I think it was that point that I knew we had something really special. Um, and I told everyone we needed to take a break because it was so emotional. But then on set, same thing. It was very, very um, powerful of a tone on that day when we shot it. Uh, it was kind of just Corey Green, who was our director of photography, who did a wonderful job. It was just him in the van, with the camera, the actor, and I was right outside. Everybody else was kind of offset. I wanted it to be as you know gritty as it possibly could, which is why I opted to go into black and white for that scene.
Oh, I
Um,
love that choice. That was a
oh,
fantastic choice.
Well, thank you. Actually, that was Corey's idea to go black and white, and then I got the idea when Lily starts singing to bring the color back in. Right at that moment. So, um, what I didn't know I was going to do was go so much with the sound effects, and I figured if I'm gonna do this, I'm just uh, gonna go for all of it. And we added the sound, the SFX, and uh, and then in the editing booth, we spent a lot of time on that, and it was emotional doing it, because each time you replay the scene, you feel it. But I knew the payoff would be there, so. And then I think the scene between Carson and Principal Crenshaw at the carnival, when we first kind of talk about it at all, uh, which has become a lot of people's favorite scene in the whole movie. I've heard a lot of people have said that.
I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I think that kind of emotion on set that day was different than the black and white scene, because I started to think about, like, the principal of the school probably felt like he had to hold it together during this whole tragedy. But then I thought also, this guy might have felt guilt or responsible for what happened. So I felt like he probably never really opened up to a student about it, and talked about how he really feels. So I thought this was kind of the perfect moment, because Carson's obviously the one who's most visibly affected by the event, and Freddie was his best friend. So I figured the two of them having a moment, and in that scene, I opted not to have Carson say anything, but just to kind of listen. And John Farley, who is fantastic in the movies, so great,
Oh,
but
he's great.
so funny, and in that scene, he was brilliant with the choices he made, and ironically, uh, we had really great weather for the whole shoot, and then that particular moment when we were going to shoot that scene, it just the whole the whole sky went just dark, and
It
I
did.
was like, yeah. I
That's
did not
great.
plan that, but I was like, this is perfect for what they're talking about. Yeah, so yeah, just the whole rest of the shoot, we had perfect weather. But the scene on the scene on the ferry, the weather was absolutely beautiful that day, and we were out in the ocean, and it just was, so the whole shoot was really nice. Then that one day we had just this it just, and it opened up. It was sunny before that, and then just as that happened, it just went dark, and I was like, okay, well that's going to play really well.
No,
Or
that's great.
not play well, but play into what the scene is.
I sorry about that. I had a cough for like 4 weeks. Um, the yeah, I think that undertone it was really beautiful, especially how you set that up. Like I said, it really was kind of punching a gut, and
Thank you.
I think we were totally quiet after that
Oh, were
scene.
you?
We're watching it was, and my wife was watching it too, and it was just sort of like, oh, here we are now,
Yeah.
in this crust of it, and I like there was a build to it secretly while you're also doing all of this other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was this Midnight Madness, which I'm
Yeah.
assuming what
Yeah.
this was
Yep.
compared to in some
Yeah.
fashion.
We've gotten
There's
compared
this
to that
fun,
too. Yep. Yep.
yeah, there's this fun thing, going on to do. It was sort of a distraction, but at the same time, it really helped flush out the characters and their
Yeah.
relationships to each other. I thought that was fantastic.
Thank you.
Um,
Thanks so much.
I did have just a quick question about writing.
Yeah. Sure.
Do you like what would you say your process would be? I know so there's a lot of different, there's
Yeah.
the Sid Field type of writing workbooks. There's Save the Cat
Yeah.
stuff and all that
Yeah.
other
Save
jazz.
the was it the save the throw the bathwater? What is it?
Yeah,
The
yeah, right.
throw
So
the
do you have a
yeah.
process? Do you have like
Yeah,
a
I do. I have a so the way that I write is what I do is typically I'll come up with a concept, and in my mind I'll just flesh it out over the course of like 2 to 3 weeks, and I'll just keep coming up with different little pieces and characters and scenes, and on my cell phone I have like a thousand notes that um, you know just going back to
right?
years of and then once it gets to a point where I'm like I have to put this on paper because the idea has really fleshed itself out, and I really feel like I'm onto something. Then I'll write an outline, and it's usually very detailed. Um, I'll start at the beginning, and I'll always, like go straight through, and know exactly how I want the movie to end. And but then after I finish the outline, then I start writing the script, and I usually come up with a million other things different from the outline, but I'll at least use that as kind of a skeleton to work off of. But then I'll end up going in a lot of different directions once I start writing, and honestly, I typically I typically bang out a script in like 2 to 3 weeks. The first draft, I'll just go in writing mode and I'll just keep going. And then what I do is that first draft always goes to my mom first. She's always the first one to read everything I write. Uh, get her feedback and her notes. Of course, she loves everything that I write, but she'll always give me her honest feedback though too. And then I'll show it to the rest of my family, a bunch of my friends, all the members of our company. I'll get everybody's notes, and then I'll incorporate, and then I'll make, I'll take very detailed notes while I'm talking to them, and then I'll incorporate everything that I like, and then everything that I can expand upon uh, into a new draft, and I'll write a new draft. After that, we do what we've come to call it is the pool table draft. The reason we call it that is just because this can only take place on a table that's the size of either a pool table or like an enormous dining room table. Uh, and what I do is I take every single scene in the movie and I lay them out on the table, and then we
Okay.
go scene by scene and say what's happening in the scene, what characters are doing what in the scene, and the reason that it's so helpful. It sounds very archaic, but it's so beneficial because when you're reading through a script, you can't really isolate that scene as it's relative to the rest of the story. But when you have that scene just by itself and it's isolated on a table, you're able to say, okay, here we are about what would ultimately be 12 minutes in. We haven't had anything funny happen in 5 minutes. We need something funny to happen right here. Or then we'll be able to look at it, and it's like kind of like a puzzle. It's very much like a puzzle, which I
Yep.
love
Oh,
doing. I love
absolutely.
puzzles. Yeah. And then we'll merge scenes. We'll throw, we'll remove scenes. We'll say we don't need to do that anymore. And then very often we'll take a scene that was happening at the very end of the movie and move it to the very beginning, and vice versa. And then scene by scene, card by card, I make very specific notes on each scene. Then I do another draft based off of that. Then we read through that as a team, and then after that read through, I do another draft as a polish, and then that's the script that goes out.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great process. I do
Thank you.
index cards.
Oh, you do?
Um,
Okay, cool. Yeah.
just kind of like how, sort of how you said, not as big probably, but index cards. And I always like the sort of the concept I think David Bowie came up with, like the cut ups, or William
Mm,
Burroughs I think it was came up with the cut ups, where you sort
yeah.
of, hey, let's switch this to the
Yeah.
front back and switch it around
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
stuff. So no, that's a really cool process. And Tristan
Thanks.
actually who just started writing, you got to get into the process, right? You
Yeah.
really got to
Yeah,
uh, get it
it's
through.
it's what works for me. I know there's people who uh set very specific times where they have to write. I don't do anything like that. I know people can't have any sound on near them. Like I have to have music on personally. Um
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
you, you know uh
Yeah,
I've also really always really loved writing at night kind of late because it feels very calm and peaceful. I've always really felt that that's my ideal time to write. But when I'm in, like I
perfect.
said, when I'm in writing mode, I'm pretty much in it, nonstop. I'm
Yeah,
just
just listening to music and jamming
yeah,
out. Absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
I find weirdly enough, like I just keep watching movies while I write too. Like
Oh,
when I was when I'm
very
writing
important. That's
my
that's the best research you can do.
I'm writing the coming of age, and I keep throwing on like Boys in the Hood and
Hmm.
Stranger Things 'cause that's kind of really
Yeah,
the inspirations for that. So I just keep doing that because sometimes I get distracted, but I'm like, wait a second, that was a good idea. Let me see if I could do something with that or change up something and just have an inspiration there.
I have a
So
weird
you're
process.
writing like a
Yeah.
Boy Meets World, not Boy Meets World, Boys in the Hood Boy meets Boys in the Hood meets Stranger Things. That's a pretty cool concept.
Yeah, it's not anything like the Demogorgons or anything. Just like the vibe of the kids there. So, and the funny thing is too, my script opens up on the last day of school,
Oh,
and
cool.
they have to go on like one last adventure together. So I was like, whoa! When I was watching Moments of Youth, I was like, wait a second, hold on, this is
If
so
only we
cool.
knew back then that the last day of school would be so important
Right? Yeah.
to a
Right.
concept.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Would you say so? You've written and directed this, right? So
Yes.
that's a double shot. What would you say? Do you have a directing style? Is there something
Yeah.
specific, or other directors that you sort of like? I want to do it like that, or
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
I would say I work very quickly, based on what actors I've worked with have told me. I always shoot everything with two cameras no matter what, unless I have to use one. Particularly in a conversation with two people or more, I always have both cameras going because I feel as though it's way more natural than getting coverage. I think if you're filming the scene where multiple people are talking, I think the best way to piece it together in the edit is to actually use the same take. I very often think that the first take is the best a lot of times because I think that um, it's the most natural. And anytime I feel like I'm surprised based on what I see happening in front of me, I know that it's a really great take. I move the camera a lot. You probably noticed that in this movie. Like everyone's kind of on the run, so I'm very very much for moving the camera a lot. But the other thing I'm also very big on, and in this movie we did it a ton, is I'm very big on improv. So I told everyone kind of to come to me with
excellent.
whatever ideas they have, and I worked as many of those as I possibly could into the shooting script. But then on set, I'd come up with stuff in the moment that was totally different from what was on the page, and or somebody would say something that just was so funny or so good or so emotionally perfect that we used it. And in the moment, I think in doing that and allowing that, because I've heard that there are a lot of directors, especially ones who are also writers, who don't want a word changed. But for me, I look at it as kind of like there's so many talented people on set. There's so many other ideas that can come about, uh, and take advantage of every possible idea you can. And I've taken ideas from the lead actor and lead actress all the way through production assistants, and for me, it's just I think my main objective is not about sort of preserving every single thing that I wrote, but making the best possible film. And if that means that someone has a really cool idea, I want to use it because I think the film's going to be better that way. And I think that we learned that in the editing suite while we were editing, how many different options we had, and a lot of really good ones. And sometimes it was a tough decision to make because there was a lot of really good choices. So which is a great problem to have, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think I would say that moving the camera is kind of a trademark of my style. I think that you guys probably tell, I use music as a very important tool, almost like a character. I think probably about 75% of the film has music in it. I think either score or original music. I'd probably put it right around that. And I think that is one of the, stylistically, we started shot listing the movie 6 months beforehand. We had every shot mapped out. Of course, I changed a lot of a lot of them when we get to the location. But I think I was looking for a almost like a classic rom-com sort of tone in terms of the colors with like an indie flair was what was the way that we came out. So we kind of merged those two. So it's got that nice lighthearted polish that's in all the great romantic comedies, but then it's got this sort of edge to it too. And I think that different color schemes is something that I tend to really play with. I tend to shoot different characters very differently, you know, in terms of framing, but also color and also color schemes. But I think that the music really is the heartbeat of the film in terms of how I like to tell the story. So in this film, we kind of are shifting tones so much that music became like a really great tool to help, you know, propel whatever tone of the scene we were going with, because we do shift from comedy to action to drama, suspense, you know, whatever it is, you know, like um, romance in some places, and I think that I will always use music as a really strong uh, uh,
Oh,
um,
absolutely.
tool for sure. Yeah,
Sorry. Um,
that's
yeah, I
okay.
mean the
Don't worry
music
about it.
is kind of like yeah, it's sort of like taking Dante, right? Like through the
Mm,
Inferno and
yep.
through all of the stuff at least. Yeah, it seemed in this movie. And it was very seamless, I thought, watching it. Yeah, music
Thank you.
absolutely is
Thank you.
one of when we were talking about writing, one of my weird quirks or style, I guess it is. When I actually write my screenplay, I have to listen to Tori Amos, which is just the
Just
weirdest
no matter what.
thing. No matter what I'm writing, does not matter. I have a set list that I
Okay,
play
that's
to
cool.
listen to. It's the weirdest thing ever. But
And
yeah,
you
so
listen to her
music
like
absolutely.
aside from when you do you listen to her when you're not writing?
Yeah, oh yeah, no, I do. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
And actually, that's sometimes how I come up with some ideas. I'll be in my car and I'll be like, oh wait,
got it,
let me write this down.
got it.
But yeah, no, I mean, you mentioned about improv, which by the way, also now all of a sudden I want to audition for you. But I think
Sure.
absolutely the yeah, getting that through with the actors and stuff. And I'm assuming with the actors that you had in this, because you had some heavy hitters, I would assume the improv probably was very 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 good.
Oh,
Um,
you know,
you know,
Sherry, John, Betsy, John. I'll give you the scene when Brianna comes to the house and she's looking for his help to help her write her speech. Uh,
yeah.
we did the whole scene straight through, and then I pulled John aside and I said, "Let's come up with something that we're just going to throw at her in the middle of the scene now, and not tell her what it is." So we kind of fleshed out the idea that he was going to respond with the restaurant burning down. So we go back, we shoot the scene, and he starts saying those lines, and her reactions are 100% authentic because she had no idea what was coming, and it ended up being, in my opinion, one of the funniest moments in the whole movie, and I love it. The
Yeah.
only reason we had to cut when we were filming that was because I was laughing. I started laughing so hard I couldn't hold it anymore. So if you watch the scene and like the raw footage, you'll hear me crack up, and then that's literally how we cut the scene.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That is so funny.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
But
yeah, I
yeah,
can
but
imagine.
everybody was really talented in terms of improv, and then we'd come up with like the scene between Carson and Darcy when he's going through the tie. He came up with this, like, you don't want these arms are spaghetti noodles, and then I came up with the line for Betsy to say, "I've done more with less," and then I told her just walk away. So we came up with that in the moment. That was all right then and there. Uh, and it's just
That's
perfect.
awesome.
That's two examples for you.
And I wanted to talk about like the chemistry between all of the teenagers in the movie.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
I I don't know like how that like happened, through whether it's through the writing, like just like the actors themselves, or like a mix of both. Like I think they all just seemed like they were friends outside of being actors. Like they felt like they were real
Yeah.
life friends. That was crazy how
Yeah.
that
No,
came together.
that's a really great compliment in terms of the script. What you're saying is because, like, the dialogue and everything of what's written, for sure. But I think when we were casting, we had so many submissions for those roles. Gemma, I believe, was the most competitive. I think we had 3,500 submissions for Gemma alone. Um, and I knew what I was looking for in each character. And once I kind of cast certain parts, I sort of knew what like the other roles should be like, and how they would mesh with the ones who were cast first. Uh, the Shady Ladies in particular feel like they've been best friends forever, and it was apparent, like, even on the first day of production, they just were like perfect together. And they're like finishing each other's sentences. They really felt like four best friends. Um, and then Commonwealth Court feels that way too. But it's just funny watching the two, because the four girls are like so in sync. They get everything right, and then the Commonwealth Court just like they just look funny together because they don't look like they would be on the same team. They look like they're almost like the last four picked, is what I've kind of said for the hunt. Um, but their chemistry is really great too, and I think it's a testament to their talent as actors. And I think when you start with a strong script, I think that um, I think that the dialogue really helps propel that in terms of how everybody interacts. But they all got to know each other beforehand, and I think also giving the flexibility of not only working with the script as it is, but also kind of everyone having their own ideas that they bring to it. And I think everyone really elevated what was on the page. And then as what I felt, to answer to kind of double back on your question, Tristan, is I felt like this movie was really going to thrive based on the right chemistry with those 8 actors. I think that they had to be really, really, well matched in order to carry every single scene. Because we really are telling 2 stories at the same time. Like we're bouncing back and forth, and I think that it was really vital that they felt like they were real friends.
Yeah, it was really actually good. I'm I'm trying to think of so there was some scenes that I did want to ask about the car scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is strictly a production thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in our latest short film that we did not use green screen in a
Oh,
car scene. Uh,
good.
for well, I don't know if I'd say good.
Okay.
Uh, whatever previously we have, right, our
Okay. What
previous
did
ones
you
we
what
have
did you do instead? Did you attach a picture vehicle?
no, we didn't use any bed. We literally I took some wood and
Okay.
drilled some holes in it
Yeah.
for a mount, and we
Really?
mounted it. We have we were using a Black Magic
Yep.
4K.
Yep.
We
Great camera.
mounted it on the dashboard, and we threw some lights just down below, and we were like, "All right, drive and go." And we did the scene. Obviously, we hooked up we had a Zoom mic thing. It turned out okay.
Yeah, I bet it did.
Uh,
That's a great way to do it. Sure.
Obviously you lose some of the lighting control,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
But it kind of turned out. I don't know if I would do it every time, um, depending on the light. That's the thing you got to figure out, right? Is the lighting aspect of it. But it did kind of turn out okay. Um, but it just fascinates me how 'cause we literally argued about it. Not argued, but debated. Do we want to do the green screen? What if we did this? We literally were going to rent, a flatbed and
Mm-hmm.
just have the
Oh,
car on that and try to figure
yeah.
it out. And we really mulled over for that for a while. Um, are those decisions that or obviously you're working with a team, on this. Are is that something where you're just like, no, we're definitely doing it this way? Um, or different
Yeah.
ways to sort of film stuff like that.
Yeah. We did everything green screen, driving sequences. Um, I personally would say it's got a lot of pluses, and I think it's great. But I think if you can do a bed and you can attach it, I think that's the easiest way in terms of when it comes time to edit it and put the visual
Yeah.
effects in and stuff. I think it also feels really natural. It's just that's a really large undertaking in terms of production goes because of what
Yeah.
you need permit wise and the roads you got to keep going around the same road and you have to have that block. It's difficult. I think what the primary benefit of using the green screen is you're in a controlled environment and you're able to sort of determine how you do it. So um, we sort of, yeah, same thing. We kind of mulled over the many different ways to do it, but I think the biggest thing came down to time because of how much there is in this movie that happens and how much we had to shoot, and we felt from
Yeah.
a time standpoint the easiest thing and the most
Yes.
efficient way would be inside of
Yeah.
a garage with the green screens.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a great way of doing it. For me, if you do it all the right ways, I think it works fantastic.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah,
I think I think they all work. It's just different, different
yeah,
different pros to each one, really. Yeah.
yeah, no, exactly. Um, I feel like I asked a lot of questions, Tristan. You can,
Yeah, I mean, I
you,
think my
I,
only other one, I was thinking about this too because I brought up my script for coming of age. Like my biggest inspiration is Boys in the Hood and mid '90s as well. Like, is there a like one specific thing that was hooked on you, whether it was like a movie or just like a real life thing? Because I know the carnival was a pretty big part of it, or even like the Hunger Games aspect of it. Like, was there anything that was like in the real world or the movie that genuinely was the inspiration for this?
Yeah, I would say a couple things. One would be first and foremost the movies that I love. I've always loved the coming of age films. I grew up with American Pie, and the '90s we had just great ones. Can't Hardly Wait, and 10 Things I Hate About You, and She's All That. And then before that, all the John Hughes films, Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Breakfast Club, and all the stuff from the '80s that are just classic and they're just great films. And I loved that. I also loved the idea of the movie taking place in one day. I think that that's a really fun way to tell a story. Um, and then I just got the idea that we haven't really seen we've seen scavenger hunts before in shows and TV, but I don't think we've seen them like told in the digital age where I got the idea that since everything is kind of on everyone's on social media all the time and everything's so right now that why wouldn't a scavenger hunt be in real time almost like in the way that a video game keeps like live score type
Yeah,
of thing. So I thought it would be a really fun way to tell a story, and then I guess I've been asked, is it autobiographical? It's not really, but I did have a scavenger hunt in high school, and it was a really great time. And it was before graduation, and my team won, which was a great
there
experience.
you go.
Yeah. Um, the big thing that put us over the top was I went to a Catholic school, and the school sign was right on like a main road, and the biggest amount of money was, or the biggest amount of points was to take a picture in front of the school sign in your underwear. So our whole team did that. I don't know where the picture is, but I've been trying to find it, track it down somewhere. Uh, so I kind of use that as what the team has to do in front of the monument, the Connecticut Monument. Um, but yeah, I think in terms of inspiration, a lot of nobody specifically is based on one person, but I think a lot of the characters are rooted in friends and people I know for sure. And a lot of the experiences are sort of similar to things I did growing up in terms of like, just being with friends and doing, playing miniature golf and a lot of when you're kind of at that age, you do a lot of really funny kind of stuff and goofy kind of stuff. So I I,
Yeah.
I thought of I thought of the scavenger hunt in a way that it would really be something that feels like they're racing against the clock because they have a certain amount of time to finish this hunt, and the kind of the symbolism of that is they're basically racing against their youth, right? Because when midnight hits, everything kind of changes, um, and that's why I use the time capsule. The time capsule I felt was a really important piece to use. Also, I wanted the time capsule almost to be symbolic of the movies a time capsule of today, which is really what all the films that I mentioned are. When you think of John Hughes, it just you're transported back to that period, whether you knew what that period was like or not. And I wanted the characters to be relatable and not just characters that say high school aged uh, people could relate to, but Chad, you and your friends could talk about like, oh, I knew a guy from high school who was just like that or whatever. And that was kind of what was really important to me. It was that it was kind of a generational sort of theme, not just something that's for, of course, the younger generation is the main demographic, but I do think it's really for all ages because everybody can kind of relate to it. What it was like in high school or college or being young.
I think you nailed that. Uh,
Thank you.
and here's why I'll say that, because watching it, so my wife watches a lot of reality TV. MTV all the way. And while watching this, it was so reminiscent. I watch them now too because if my wife watches, I'm going to watch them. So
Sure.
the I don't know how you'd necessarily call it, but flair, I guess you would say, like the flair that they have for editing, for making something exciting, for making something now, um, in just the way they present their stories, with the hey, here's the flashy graphic, or here's this
Right.
thing.
Right.
And you do that in this movie, in certain scenes. Like I think right off the jump, I remember, there's like, well, here, there's a lot of this flair going
Split
on.
screens. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the split screen and all this uh stuff that really, for me, just drew me into something that's telling me that this is now, right? This is absolutely a now movie, an MTV, type thing, in in the good way that, like you're saying, when you think of John Hughes, if you're looking at American Pie, you're gonna know right away where you are, and that's where you are too, and then of course, you threw in the extra kick in the teeth of what these kids really have to actually think about in
Yeah.
their life. So I thought that was an excellent choice. I thought that was absolutely effective.
Thank you.
For
Thanks so
for an old
much.
guy for an old guy like me, part of this podcast is me only talking about old movies and him talking about new movies.
The
So
new stuff. Yeah. Nice.
yeah, all the new stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they did that in American Graffiti. They
Yeah.
did that in American Graffiti. But I think you did that very well, because as I was actually watching the movie, I was recognizing that, and I thought to myself, "This is happening. Kids are going to love this."
Thank you.
But
Yeah.
it's very similar to stories that I've already heard and already feel. You know what I mean? So I
Right.
thought
Yeah. Yeah.
that was
I think
really
it's.
good.
I think it's a familiar sort of story with a new flair to it. Is
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
again, we've been compared to American Graffiti also. So I think because of the themes and because of the characters, I think it's a kind of a universal story, and I think we added a different sort of modern take on it while also uh, touching upon a very serious matter, which is kind of becomes sort of the center piece of the center point of the film.
yeah. I thought it was fantastic. There's the beach scene. Uh,
Yeah, I love the campfire scene.
yeah,
Well, thank
that
you.
one. That one's probably my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah,
It's
probably mine too. For a lot
it's
of
so
reasons. Yeah,
touching, and the
yeah.
time capsule of
So
it all too. Like
Yeah, it's
It's
tough for
so
me to
good.
say a favorite scene, but I really, because I love them all, but I really do love the beach a lot.
Yeah, that was just it was golden. And it wrapped again. I 100% credit because as a writer or somebody that writes, I'll say maybe I'm not a writer. I'm somebody who writes.
You're a writer. If
But
you're right, you're a
but
writer.
the to have all of the characters, collectively reach those moments that they reach those moments when they reach them. Um, I think it's not necessarily an easy task.
Yeah, right.
But it definitely came out on screen for sure.
Thanks.
And I think that's a great testament to it. And also, I think you wrapped it up too. Here's another great thing for screenwriting, Tristan. He wraps it up. The last day of school, the actual graduation, and he brings it back to funny. So he took you on this journey, right?
Yeah.
It starts off fun, whatever. Then we go through this emotional whatever, and then at the very end of any time you have a crying moment with all of your friends, you just have to laugh, right? You're gonna have to have that moment of laughter, and he
Right.
does that. He does that at the end of this because, first you bring back Sherry O'Terry, so number one, that's a win. But there's a scene where at the very ending of it, where she's giving the speech, and if you really look in the background, you see the principal really loving this drone, and that got me when I saw that. I was like, okay, all right, now we're back, right? Now we're kind of back into that beat. And yeah, again, you gotta you bring it through the emotions, and I thought that was great writing.
Thank you.
Great. It was performed also as super well.
Yeah,
So,
thank you so much. Appreciate that. Yeah, and then Betsy did that split. The principal saying the line about stay after for a show-stopping performance, and then she starts playing the accordion. And she did that. She did that split on her own. I had no idea she was going to do it, and I used it to close out the trailer. If you guys noticed, and then I love probably maybe my favorite shot in the movie is the parting shot when they're in their caps and gowns and they're walking. The last shot in the movie when they're walking off. Maybe one of, if not my favorite shots in the film. It just kind of you get that kind of feeling of they're moving forward. Now, sorry, Tristan, you were going to say something about the time capsule.
No, I just again like with the beach scene in the campfire, like I really liked all of them choosing what item, and then she remembers that she's gonna bring the tie back and do the reveal at the graduation that she actually did, in his house actually did take the tie from him. So I thought that was also really funny from there.
yeah, it was great, and I'm really. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think what I do in my writing is I try to tie every single possible thing together, even if it's very small. I loved the payoff of like Carson kind of like kicking around what he should put in the time capsule, and then Brianna sees him about to drop it in. She runs across, and then, she shows it at graduation. I think, and then the principal saying during his speech that he fixed the drone and this was a gift from the graduating class.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always try to tie every possible thread together that I can.
Speaking of a favorite like shot in the movie, when Link is like meeting that little kid saying that
On the boardwalk?
he's his
Yeah.
hero. Oh my goodness. That was really really shot beautifully and really really
Thank you. Yeah, that's my other favorite shot.
Like,
when she's kind of going off into the distance, we circle back around on his reaction. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
was
probably my other
nice.
favorite shot. Yeah.
It was
Thank
so
you.
Good. And a good emotional beat too. There's so many good beats in this movie of emotion.
Yeah, and I had always envisioned kind of like using the graphics in some capacity, and even in the script, I had in the script that it appears, that they completed this task of becoming somebody's hero, and then, it fizzles out because he doesn't want credit for that, right? He doesn't want that to be a thing that he wins that helps him win the hunt, because that wasn't the point, I loved the way that shot came out. The other shot I really like is the shady ladies kind of overhead when they're laying on the grass. I used that in a lot of our trailers and stuff. But yeah, the shot on the boardwalk with Mandy, she's going off into the distance, and then it just kind of circles right back, and Jarrett, who plays Lincoln, he had tears in his eyes. I told him, I pulled him aside and I said, you know, we had a discussion, and he really that's the last take. He really, really, really went for it, and that's the take that we used.
He blew it out of the water for sure. That was great.
It was great.
I like think his relationship with her too, because honestly, there's not too much romance, and then at the end, at the campfire, you kind of see that they get together. It was that was really sweet.
Right. Yeah. Thanks. In a way, they're kind of, I wouldn't call them outsiders, but they're not really as connected as everyone else is, because Brianna, she was in a relationship all of high school, and she was the valedictorian, so she was always studying. And Lincoln just came to the school this year, so in a way, they're not as like tied in as everybody else is. And Brianna obviously is really good friends with everyone, but in a way, they kind of found each other because of their sort of standing, right, in the group. And what I did with Lincoln was he sort of becomes like the narrator, in that he wasn't around for all of high school, so a lot of the stories and the things are being told to him, which are then being revealed to the audience. So in a way, he serves the purpose of what a narrator would serve, and that's sort of how we learn about certain things of Freddie, and how we learn about what it was like for them during COVID, and all the stories that he hasn't really been privy to. But they have, even Brianna knows all this. She knows all those things too. He doesn't really know them. And that's why I wouldn't really use the term outsider, but they're just a little different than say how close, the four shady ladies are, and how Carson is with his girlfriend Gemma, and obviously Spencer and Carson are really great friends. Lincoln becomes great friends with them, but it's only been a year, and Brianna was clearly always studying, and she was always she was in a relationship for the majority of high school, while still being friends with everybody, but just a little different.
So part of our podcast, obviously, are films. Very curious, and
by the way, I love the name. What the film? I think it's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We and we can absolutely share ours. A Mount Rushmore of film.
Oh,
what's on it?
Okay.
What's on it?
All right. So Mount Rushmore is that comes from that's a sports thing, right? Like, they always do the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks, the Mount Rushmore of yeah. So number one is Big Fish, directed by Tim Burton. That's my all-time favorite film.
I literally just got this on DVD.
Did you? Okay.
Yes,
Did you watch it?
Rebuilding. Oh, I've seen it many times.
Oh, okay.
I'm rebuilding my collection, so found that on DVD. That's a must for Tristan to watch for sure.
Yeah. Oh, you haven't seen it? Yes, please watch it.
Seen it.
Okay. I can't say it's number 2. I have to say 1A, because they're so close. It's Almost Famous, directed by Cameron Crowe.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
That is a great movie.
Yep. 3 would be Usual Suspects, Bryan Singer. And 4 would probably be Finding Forrester, Gus Van Sant.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Gus Van Sant, great director.
But then, I could go 5 through 100 off the top of my head, no problem. It's hard not to put Shawshank in the top 4. I mean, it's like there's so many that I would have right there, but I love Finding Forrester. I really love it. Yeah. And then if I were to do comedies, it would be a whole different list. How about you guys? I'd love to hear yours. Oh, but if you were to ask me what I think the best film ever made is, I would say Network. That would be my choice.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. That's a great one.
Yeah, I mean, I know my 4 off the top of my head.
Go ahead.
I use Letterboxd quite a lot, so my top 4 is always the same. My favorite movie of all time is Boys in the Hood, and I don't know if you can tell from that.
Yeah, got that one. Such a great movie.
I love that movie. Number 2,
I think it was like 26 when he directed it, or 25 or something.
So
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Number 2 is the Return of the King, Lord of the Rings.
You know,
Even that
I
whole,
was gonna guess. I bet one of the Lord of the Rings is here.
yeah.
You seem like a Lord of the Rings guy to me. Okay, cool.
I love Lord of the
Absolutely. It's the
Rings.
Jon Snow. It's because he looks like Jon Snow.
It's the best trilogy ever made, and it's so great. Number four or number three is Get Out for sure, 100%. Love Jordan Peele.
Yep.
Um,
Okay.
and number four is the original Gene Wilder Willy Wonka movie. That's also super
Wow.
amazing. I love that movie.
What a great choice.
It's so imperfect, but it's
It's so great. Yeah. What a
his
tremendous movie.
performance.
Yeah. He well, he passed away recently, but he lived in Stanford his whole life, pretty much.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Right next to my aunt and uncle. Yeah. Yeah. Great
Genius. He was a
film.
genius.
Oh, one of the greatest of all time, easily.
yeah. And then
One
also
of the,
like
maybe the single greatest performance in the history of film too.
mm-hmm.
Mm.
And also like Fight Club I love a lot. All the Jordan Peele movies.
Fight Club's in the
Sinners-
top 10 for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
almost did Fight Club at number 4, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's
and I recently guys also points me towards Sinners. I love Ryan Coogler, and I just everything about Sinners I love. So yeah.
very
You
cool.
had to bring up.
Cool.
You had to bring up Fight Club.
I
Yeah.
know.
In
Come on.
college, I wrote Fight Club, the screenplay based on the book.
He talks about this so much; it makes me laugh way too
And then
hard.
I go to the movies and I see a trailer for Fight Club.
Wow.
Yeah. So my four, my favorite movie of all time, which I think is the best movie ever made, maybe, is Taxi
Godfather?
Driver.
Taxi Driver. Okay.
Taxi Driver. I'm a huge Scorsese fan, but Taxi
Yep.
Driver just killed it for me.
Awesome.
Terry Gilliam's Brazil
Fantastic.
is just outrageous.
One of the films that I
creative.
think there was a handful of movies that I think I literally watched in every film class in college. I think that was one of them. We studied it from so many different perspectives, and yeah, I watched it so many times. Yes,
Yeah,
great movie.
Jaws. I can't get enough Jaws.
There you go. You got to have a
it was
Spielberg
my-
in there for sure.
And where is that? Am I at a four?
Yeah.
12 Angry Men. 12 Angry
Oh
Men.
my God,
is,
fantastic!
one of the most compelling
Oh, unbelievable.
movies I've ever seen.
Yes.
But then
I
again, I,
did
also like Spice World too. So
Okay. Yeah. So, but the best movie ever made, you think, is Taxi Driver, right? You said
I do.
It's your
Tristan
favorite and
actually
your best.
Just watched it. Yeah,
Just watched
It's
it.
a
Okay.
good movie.
It's one that just I don't know what I guess it's when I was really starting to study film, and it just really
Mm-hmm.
the shots that are used, the movement of the camera, the
Yeah.
dark subject matter,
Very
the
groundbreaking.
performances were it was kind of shocking, I think, to me. So
And Jaws, 12 Angry Men. What was the fourth one?
Brazil.
Brazil. So my favorite Terry Gilliam film is The Fisher King. I love The Fisher
I
King.
love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think Brazil's great, but Fisher King I thought was absolutely fantastic. And that has probably my favorite actor of all time is Jeff Bridges. I also love Robin Williams too. But I love Jeff Bridges. Yeah, so I think Brazil is great. Yeah, everything he's done's good. But I've always loved,
I'm a
loved
huge
Fisher King.
Hunter S. Thompson fan, so I love Fear and Loathing. But
Yep, Fear and Loathing, sure.
The Jeff Bridges in Fisher King was to me always thought was so ballsy because he was kind of a hot, right? He was like the hot dude. He was like the DiCaprio type,
right,
of his age. A lot of romance and action.
Yep.
Well, not
Fabulous Baker Boys and all this. Yeah.
He was kind of a pretty boy, I guess you could say. And just doing the Fisher King was such a
turn. Yeah.
Yeah, it was such a real, going down the wrong path thing, but it was a great performance.
Yeah.
I loved it.
By both of them. Robin Williams was unbelievable too. It was like, some incredible performances. Yeah. So you said 12 Angry Men. That's in the Lumet too, like Network.
Mm-hmm.
Network. I thought I watched Network and I was just like, whoa. I watched it and I remember thinking this movie could come out right now and they wouldn't have to change anything. That's how ahead of its time it was.
Yep.
You
can say that today.
Yeah,
You can
could
say
still
it right
come out now. Yeah. The other one from that period that I love is Chinatown. That would be my other favorite choice from
Oh,
from
Jack
sort of the golden
Nicholson.
era. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, how about comedy? Do you guys have a top top four for comedy?
Young Frankenstein. Young
Ah, that's
Frankenstein is
great.
my
There you go, Gene
favorite.
Wilder again.
Yep, Gene Wilder.
Yeah, yeah,
That movie scared the hell out of me too. So it was like scary and
yeah,
as a kid.
yeah,
I mean, speaking of Sherry Terry, I love the scary movies, like
yeah,
the parody of all of the
yeah.
horror franchises, and I love the Wayans, so I also like Don't Be a Menace to South Central,
That's great too.
Little
Yeah,
Man, and all of those. I love the Wayans brothers.
yeah, they're great.
I mean, I guess it's not really a comedy, but I thought Tootsie was
Tootsie's, yeah,
fantastic.
that's I would. It's got to be classified as somewhat of a comedy, but yeah, it was great. That's Sidney Pollack. Sidney Pollack,
Sidney
right?
Pollack.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And for comedy for you, it's
Number
obviously
one.
American Pie was
Yeah, I love American Pie. Number one will always be Caddyshack.
Caddyshack is fantastic, fantastic.
Yeah. Meet the Parents. Uh,
Yeah,
American Pie, and I come up with a fourth one. God, there's just so many. I would probably say probably Happy Gilmore. Have to be.
okay.
I'd have to put Adam Sandler
So
in there. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
always at the top.
I
Yeah.
love Tom Hanks's Big. Penny Marshall directed.
Big
I
is-
love that
Yes.
movie so much. It
Yeah, I
makes
saw
me
that in
cry
the
every
theaters.
time at the end.
Yeah, I saw that in the theaters when I
good.
was came out. What year? 89. I was a
89?
little kid. I saw it in the theaters. I loved it
88.
then.
So good.
Yeah, and it's fantastic.
See, that's
So
funny.
original, too.
Yeah, like the '80s stuff that you go see. I've always loved. Comedy. Like the weird thing is, I guess, and I love my dad for this. He allowed me at a young age to watch a lot of movies I shouldn't have. You know, at like 5 years old, I'm watching Apocalypse Now and Porky's.
Oh my God! Talk about
like,
brilliant.
you know,
Another
yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah, I grew up like with Porky's and
Porky's. Oh my God.
weird, really weird
Yeah.
comedies like that. So those things definitely shape you though in a certain way.
Absolutely.
I think even like because you brought up like Almost Famous, which
Yeah.
again coming of age.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
anybody watching it at the time, especially if they're in high school, I don't know. You live vicariously through the characters. This is like it shapes your dreams. I think in a little bit.
100%.
Which
Yeah.
is great.
And the scene on the bus is probably my all-time favorite scene. The Tiny Dancer scene when they
Oh yeah, this thing. Oh my goodness,
just,
classic, classic.
So what's the concept of the new short you guys are doing?
Well, so our shorts that we've done, that the ones at least that have been fairly successful, was a parody of True Detectives,
Oh,
but with two little kids being the detectives.
That's great.
And everything else being, a real murder, a real everything, and sort of playing on the fact that rather than like cocaine, it's like Fun Dip or Pixie Sticks and
That's
things
great.
like that.
Okay.
We started this, I don't know, 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Tristan was very little. He since has gotten older, but we still continue to do them as if maybe they're that way. But so the last one that we just did Tristan wrote. It was a little bit more serious. He was inspired by the movie Seven, the Fincher film.
Also in the top 10 for me.
So we sort of took it as less funny and a little bit more serious, but
Okay.
still kind of keeping the funny.
Well, the comedy's there, right? Just because the inherent
Yeah.
fact that they're two little kids
Right.
like being detectives. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And then and so that's actually still in the film festival circuit or whatever
Great.
you want to tour right now or
We've got a
whatever.
DVD release for that one too.
Really?
Yeah, we just
Wow.
we created our own
Congrats. Hey,
we
DVDs are
kinda
making a
made-
comeback,
They are,
That's
yeah.
right. Absolutely.
which is
Physical
great,
media.
which is great news because streaming is wonderful, but for me, I love watching the special features every much as I love watching the film. So
Oh, absolutely. Look,
Yeah.
I've been we've been and mostly because of this podcast too, but I've been going
Nice.
crazy on Criterion, all the extra stuff is
Cassavetes.
on these Cassavetes, and we got
Yep.
some, a lot of
Awesome.
physical media. I actually had my wife, I'm sure hates me, but I had to build like a whole new shelving mechanism in my house. But yeah, I think so. And then right now, Tristan is actually working on a different short. I'm working on a completely different short, loosely based on. It's three different. It's kind of like a Magnolia type thing where it's like three different stories, but kind of mixed together.
That would have been number 5.
You can see what did Magnolia. Tristan just watched that recently. I
That's
made
such
him
a
watch
good
it.
movie. Holy crap!
Whew. Yeah, that blew me away. Every performance in that is
Still
all the way up here. All the way up here.
Still my favorite movie of his.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
I love Boogie Nights
yeah.
too, though. Boogie Nights is right there too. But
so good.
But Magnolia would be number 5.
Yep, I'm right there with you because that was.
Yeah.
I told Tristan, I said you're gonna have to really sit and watch this movie.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna blow you away. It was masterpiece.
It
for
absolutely is. 3.5 hours, I think it is, right? Was it 3?
It's pretty long.
Hours? Yeah. And worth every single minute.
Yep. And mine's going to be like that, but not anything like it probably at all.
Okay.
And it's sort of loosely based on William S. Burroughs has a short story called A Junkie's Christmas, which is kind of about a junkie who is trying to score
on Christmas.
But yeah, so we're sort of just in the writing. I'm in the writing phase of that. And my wife then also is doing a documentary on loss. Basically, people who've lost loved ones. So we're sort of all
bunch of different stuff, yeah.
Bunch of different stuff, but and separately, obviously, we're both trying to write our own. Whoever gets done first, I guess, is the one we're actually going to do. But our own separate
coming of age.
Coming of age. Mine is more in the 90s because that's when I graduated high school. Was 1995. So. Full on Nirvana, grunge,
Pearl Jam,
retro hippieism, type of stuff. So
nice.
That's sort of where I come from.
So you must love Dazed and Confused. That's right. I mean, that's came out like right then. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Oh, Dazed and Confused was right on point. And Linklater is masterful at hitting each character as they need to get hit. Which I think is great. So, what about you?
Cool.
What would be next for you?
Next for me is it's going to be called or it is called The Final Score. It's about a star hockey player gets hurt in his last game, and he didn't tell anybody. He didn't tell many people, but he was always secretly a really great musician. A pianist and singer. So throughout the story, it's kind of his progression from athlete to musician. And there's a really interesting love triangle in it too. So it's very musically charged, very sports theme. Sort of it's a coming of age film too. Very different from Moments of Youth in that it's got comedy, but it's more on the drama side.
Nice. And it's classical music that he's
he plays mostly popular stuff on the piano, but he does play classical, but he's going to be like a recording artist, and not like a concert pianist.
A concert guy. Yeah. Gotcha. Nice. Yeah. Another film that we just watched, well, Tristan didn't yet, but me and my wife rewatched Amadeus.
Of course.
Which
sure.
Whew, unbelievable.
Yeah, I met him. He came to a theater to screen Cuckoo's Nest, and I got a picture with him on my website, actually. Yeah. At the time, he was one of only, I think, a handful of guys who had won the Best Director Oscar twice. Still hasn't been done that many times, but when I met him, I think it was only, there was only maybe like 7 or 8 guys who had done it. Yeah.
And that's all Tristan, Cuckoo's Nest is also on the list. So,
absolutely.
He has a lot of catching up to do for the older movies.
Those are both must watch. Those are.
could you tell us a little bit about Jackpot?
Sure. Yeah. So I graduated college in 2006. In May of 2006, and then we started the company in June of 2006. So we're, literally right at our 20-year reunion or
Oh, nice.
anniversary, not reunion. My brother and I, kind of the founders, and like I said, our family is all involved. There's, I think there's 12 of us now who are permanently in the company. We've made, television, we've made shorts, we've made music videos. Moments of Youth is obviously the first feature, and aside from that, we we have 12 ready to go features that are aside from Final Score, and the next step is we're going to be getting into episodic TV. So I have two pilots that we are currently getting ready to start the process on. One is one's kind of a Moments of Youth sort of tone. It's called Every Day's a Holiday. Every episode is a different day on the national calendar. National Hot Dog Day, national. Just on Instagram, I kept seeing people posting about these things, so I got the idea to build a show around it. It takes place in like kind of a small town, and has like a One Tree Hill feel, but the company that we follow they have like a very sophisticated scheduling app, and all these kind of holidays are run through the app, and people then post through social media and stuff. The other one takes place in the late night talk show world. It's called Midnight on Broadway, and he's in a late night talk show host, and there's also this whole other component which is a spy component. So it's got a thriller, but also has like a lot of humor into. So and then as far as the films go, we're pretty much the next several years will be Final Score. Then it'll be film after film is kind of what our intention is, while we're also doing the TV shows. So also just in the process of while we were selling and shopping Moments of Youth, we had struck the deal with the studio, and then I got linked up with somebody who had just started a new distribution company. I was initially going to talk with him about marketing the film, and he asked if there was anything else that I had that we already made, and we made a hidden camera game show that's behind me. Everyone has their price, and we struck a deal, and we just found out it's gonna it's gonna air in a couple months. I'll let you know the platform pretty soon when I can announce that. But that kind of, I had done it years ago, and it just kind of came to be. We just re-edited all the episodes as I was doing everything else for the film, and just kind of came to be. It was really cool. So a lot of fun stuff's happening.
That's good. No, it's super exciting, and yeah, absolutely. Please keep us informed. We love
I will definitely.
We'll throw anything out there. And even upcoming shows of moments of youth.
Sure, I'll be sure to tag you guys and everything.
Yes, please, absolutely. Yeah, we'd love to promote as much as we can. We're a small bubble, but we absolutely love to get words out.
Thank
however,
you. Yeah. I appreciate it.
However we can.
But yeah, I mean, thank you actually for coming on. This has definitely been a weird, surreal experience for us. Like, we just started this podcast, I believe, February of this year.
Cool.
I don't even think our podcast even has 100 views on it, so it was definitely very, mind-boggling to me, at least. Like, that was a very cool experience. So thank you for that. Thank you for joining the podcast and talking film, your film, and ours as well. That's very, very touching. Thank you.
Well, thanks so much. My pleasure. It was a blast. It's really cool what you guys are doing. I feel like I should grab my dad. We should do like a dad and son. um, you know, it was really cool. I think, you know, you guys really have a great, first, obviously have a great rapport because you're father and son, but you have a great kind of understanding of movies in general. And it's cool, cool to see. I always love, you know, different perspectives on movies. And you guys asked me questions that, you know, haven't been asked, which is keeps happening on the podcast I go on. You know, a lot of people ask, you know, everyone asks, you know, like the most important questions at the beginning, and, you know, the inspiration and that, the stuff that, you know, makes sense to ask. But yeah, you guys asked me some stuff that, you know, I hadn't really talked about, and also your take on the film was really cool, and I really appreciate all the kind words on it. I like I said, every time anybody says anything positive about it and gives the love that they do, I'm always incredibly grateful for it. So I appreciate all the kind words you guys said, and I look forward to watching your guys, you know, growth too, because I'm sure the podcast will take off for sure, because you guys have a lot of really cool stuff you do here.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, absolutely hope so. And yeah, I mean, stay in touch. We're obviously going to be watching you, following you, and in your procedure. I'm sure we'll send you some stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
please.
why not?
And
Absolutely.
And hey, listen, we're also short filmmakers, so if you need an extra hand on anything, we're right there. We're right
always
there.
do. I always do. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
It'd be great. And yeah.
I too can play a mother that cooks really well. So if you need any kind of,
so you'll play Sherry O'Terry's sister in the sequel.
Yes, absolutely. Of course. But yeah, I thank you honestly from the bottom of my heart. You know, it's great. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
I think it really hits, and that's a great thing.
I'm glad. You know, it's all you can really hope for, is that it resonates with people, and I'm so glad you guys enjoyed it, and the reception it's getting. It's really, really great. So
absolutely.
Yeah. And yeah, we'll definitely, should I say, you know, where to watch the movie, or should I do that on here, or you guys want to put it in the...
Yes. Okay. Absolutely.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
So, the movie is currently available in the U.S., Australia, and Canada on Tubi. It is available the U.S. and U.K. on Amazon, and then Plex and YouTube for the whole rest of the world. And I talked a little bit about it before, but August 21st and 22nd at the Embassy Theater in Waltham, Massachusetts, which is right outside of Boston. We'll be screening the film and also doing a Q&A afterwards. Chad and Tristan are going to be attending, guys, so you'll be able to be there with it. And then on September 10th, we will be at the Alex Theater in LA, which I'll be doing a virtual Q&A most likely. Definitely doing a Q&A, just unsure if I'll be able to be out there or not, but I will definitely be doing a Q&A. And then on October 2nd, we will be at the in Nova Scotia at the hold on, give me one sec. Astor Theater, at the Astor Theater in Nova Scotia. That'll be in Canada for sure. With a Q&A afterwards too. Probably virtual.
I have to tell the audience, absolutely go to Tubi, go to Amazon, go and take a look at this film. Take the time. You will not be disappointed.
Thanks so much. Watch it in the cinema. That would be even better.
Yeah,
that's where the real magic happens.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much.
Yep.
As we gaze out into the limitless possibilities of tomorrow, we have a great deal of uncertainty.
I just keep wondering, when is life going to get back to normal? I don't have an answer for you, buddy.
It's the night you've all been waiting for. The scavenger hunt send-off. Give it up for Lincoln Lovers!
on the streets as I am ghost.
One more step, you won't be walking to graduation out there.
Oh my god.
Ready? Break!
Tonight is winner takes all.